Hi folks, it's Ron. If you've just invested in one of the SecuriTEST IP camera testers here from Ideal Networks, I think you've just purchased one of the sweetest IP camera testers on the market today. The tester is fast and easy to use when setting up CCTV systems. So let's open it up and see what you get. When you open up the box, you find a black bag that contains the actual IP camera tester in it, and then a brown box, okay, that has a bunch of adapters and stuff in it. So we'll play with that a little later, okay? Now, when you look at the actual bag itself, the bag contains the tester, and it's on this side. And when the tester provides the functionality of a video monitor, cable tester, PoE injector, and a laptop all in one handheld portable tester. And it can power, configure, and document the installation of IP, wireless, and analog cameras. Now, on the other side of the black bag, when you open it up, you'll find a patch cord in there for hooking up to, again, IP cameras, which we'll play with later. There is also an amplifier probe in here that is used for tracing and actually testing of cables. You're going to need a couple AAA batteries that are not provided with the probe device in order to power that. And then also in here, you'll find some documentation, okay? Now, the first thing you'll find here is a safety sheet, so I'll let you guys read that when you get a little time. And then there's actual manual here as well. The manual is actually stored on the tester as well, so if you power up the tester and you hit the help icon on the tester, it'll take you to the manual if you need it. And then lastly here is a registration sheet, warranty/registration sheet. It's really important you go ahead and register these testers with Ideal Industries, or Ideal Networks, I should say. And it's right here. There's a website. And once you go to that website, you hit the registration button, and the testers carry a 1-year warranty from date of purchase. So they're going to want to know a little bit more about you and the day you purchased the tester. You're also going to need your serial number off your tester, which is right here on the back of the tester, in order to complete that whole registration. And if you register with us, if we need to get a hold of you for some reason, we know how to get a hold of you. And then again, we can help you with your with any warranty problems. Now, also, we would recommend while you're on the website to double check that there's not a firmware update for the tester. Currently, there is not one because the tester is so new, but a couple times a year wouldn't hurt you to go double check to see if the firmware has not been updated. And then while you're on Ideal Networks, you might as well go ahead and take a look at all the different test equipment we offer through the Networks division, and you'll find that we offer some pretty cool test equipment. All right, so go check it out. Well, here's the tester itself, and as we said before, it's nice, compact, feels good in the hands kind of stuff. Over here is a bunch of buttons. This one turns the tester on and off, and through these other buttons we can do like a digital zoom on a 4K camera, or setting up pan tilt zoom on a camera. On the top of the tester, you see here an RS-485 output for powering up, again, analog cameras. Right next to it, you'll see an HDMI input. We can actually make the screen on the tester an external monitor. So if you're working with like network video recorders and things like that, that might be helpful. On the other side of the tester is an HDMI output. And then we can take the screen itself and then output that to an external monitor. Next to the HDMI input are two analog or camera ports for BNCs for hooking up to, again, two analog cameras. There's an analog in and an analog out. This one says test tone, so we can actually trace coaxial cables using our probe device and putting a tone down the coax. But those are for obviously the analog cameras. The tester does also wireless cameras, but obviously there's no port for that. And then these other two ports are then used for IP cameras. And we can plug this port right into an IP camera. And if your camera's got OnViv, the setup actually gets pretty simple to do. And we can actually power that camera through PoE, through the tester, and set that camera up and do whatever we need to do to it to get it set up. Okay. Now, the tester also has TDR abilities here too, so we can actually get very accurate distances to the cable runs that are feeding those cameras. And if we want to, we can actually plug this port actually into a network switch and start working with all the cameras that have to be hooked up through a network, so either directly to a camera or to a network switch. Now, I mentioned a little bit ago that we could power the camera through this port with PoE. It's limited to 24 watts, which is probably sufficient for most things. But if your camera needs more than that, well, we could plug into your PoE injector and provide power to that camera. You can also use the network's power to provide power to the camera. And be aware of that with this port, no data passes through the port. It's just power, okay? And if we have a camera that doesn't have PoE, well, then we'll use this DC 12-volt output here to power the camera. And right above that is a little flashlight that we can turn on. There's a little actually flashlight on the end of the probe as well that we can use if we're in a dark environment somewhere behind a rack or something like that. Okay. Now, on the other side here again, there's the HDMI output we mentioned a minute ago. Here's a micro SD card that we can push on to get in and out of there that stores data on it. Next to that is a RJ45 port for testing cat array cables like Cat5e, Cat6. And we could plug a data cable into here, plug the other end into our probe device here, and do a wire map test on that cable. You can also do tracing functions through this port using the probe device if we need to trace some cables. Under the little yellow tab here is actually a USB charging port for charging a USB device like an Android phone or an iPhone. Be aware, no data goes out that port. It's just pure power. Okay. Now, if you have a camera that has audio capabilities, there's an audio in and out right there. And over here is where we can plug our power charger into the tester, and there's a little on and off switch here. The little on and off switch, what it does is it isolates the lithium-ion battery from the tester. Okay. So if you're not going to use it for a long period of time, just to save the battery life, I would go ahead and put it in the off position when you're not using it for long periods of time, okay? So there's the tester. And if we look at what's in the little bag you get a bunch of little adapters. One is here's a shoulder strap we can actually hook to the tester and then hang the tester over our neck if we're up on a lift somewhere. We don't want to actually drop the tester. There's another strap. Here's a big bag full of adapters and some other stuff we'll get into in some other videos. And then here's the power adapter itself. Now, we like to tell you that you can charge it overnight and use it all day. So when you get the tester, it's going to be charged to about 30 or 40% of a full charge. So again, charge it overnight. And if you charge it overnight, we tell you that you typically would be able to see 10 hours of continuous use if you've charged it overnight if you're not using PoE. And if you're using PoE, you can get about 3.5 hours of continuous use. And if you're using PoE periodically, well, then you're going to get somewhere in between that. Okay. The power adapter doesn't have the right adapter here for the US, so I'm going to go ahead and plug that one in. And then I'm going to plug that into my little power cord over here, and then plug this into the tester to start using it. Now, I could use the tester with it plugged in here, so I turned it on, it would be powered from here. But I need to charge the battery, so I'm going to have to turn that on in order to charge the battery as well. And you'll see that the little red lights come up on the tester to let you know that, yes, it's not fully charged yet, but it is charging. If I push this button down and hold it down for 2 seconds, the tester turns itself on and starts going through a diagnostic test. Now, in coming videos, I'm going to try and cover all the functionality of the SecuriTEST IP camera tester here. And it's the first IP camera tester that can capture camera images and network configurations and then provide a really professionally formatted document in a PDF form. And those reports can be downloaded from the tester via email or a file sharing service without ever having to leave the job site. And as you see, it powers up very nicely, nice screen looking here. As I mentioned before, there's the help button, and it is a touch screen. So if I push that, I can go right to it. So, folks, I think you're going to love these things when you get them in your hands. Hey, thanks for watching, folks. I'm Ron with Ideal, and I'll plan on seeing you on the next one.